Hello, everybody out there in the internet. Welcome to Aimless Z episode 417. I'm Chris Hammonds, Ticket Master, joined by.
RPG Maniac 05.
And Trioptical.
So, yeah, we've got so much from playing, a middle segment about the Google Stadia, and some news.
It's in fact not the plural of stadium, by the way.
Oh man, alright. I don't think I played a lot of anything this week. I just dipped into like a lot of games. So just quick snippets on what I've been playing. And then there was one thing I played that was like, oh man. But I'll get to that. So yeah, let's so I went back to Devil May Cry, started on the like base difficulty, or the easy difficulty, like human I think it's called. So I was like, let me play through this before I play Dante May Die and just get destroyed. So it's like let's not up the difficulty. That was a very fun ride, and I did very much enjoy it. And I do not want to get just like destroyed and like oh man, yeah. Let's see, what else did I play? Gran Turismo Sport, still doing the dailies for the cars and stuff. Almost to 10 million credits, halfway to 20 million for the 20 million credit cards in that game.
Oh my!
You know, I get there eventually, I guess. And then like on my daily workout thingy, it's like the first time it's been like full for like when you zoom out to like the weekly on like ever, I think. So it's kind of neat. I was like looking at it, I was like, oh man, I go to weekly and I'm still have played it every day. I did finally jump into Destiny to check out the stuff, but
No!
I just did a bit of I just did like the one I just did the zero bounty that was available. I didn't actually do the thingy after it was like your presence is requested, blah blah blah. So I was like, this is a trap. Like I've played this game too long to like know they're not gonna f with you. So I was like, you know what, I don't feel like it. And then like all the drops I was getting that were the like powerful drops for like the daily and weekly and crap, they were like one higher. Oh wait, no, no, those no like the clan engram was like one higher, and then I got like one prime engram and it was like 5 higher. It was like 655, and I was like, dude, I'm not even gonna like bother with this. I was like, after seeing that, it's like I got like all these 651 engrams and like there's a 655. It's like, it's like I'm glad I did not jump back into this game because I would have just been like complaining about that because like I'm just kind of over the whole grinding to cap all the time. And it's just like, yeah, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna get there because that's a lot of levels ahead of me. I don't feel like doing any of that crap, and it's just like, oh, why, Bungie? Why did you do this? Let's see.
Because you love it?
No, I do not. Let's see. Monster Hunter World? Oh, wait, no. Oh, yeah, I've been playing that, basically just doing like the weekly limited bounties to get the gold Wyverian prints and the eggs for money, and just like to slowly, and like I've been using the daily vouchers or the daily whatever they're called to give you like double the credits, because I've been trying to
So
get all
lucky vouchers?
yeah, lucky vouchers, because I've been trying to get my armor all the way up across the board, and it is a very expensive undertaking, and it's like, oh well, I'm gonna need all this because it's expensive, and I had like 3 million during the appreciation fest, and I was down to like 1 million, and I was like, dude, that was fast. So I flew through that, and I was like, okay, let me just use these every day, and just like stack up all my good investigations. I have a ton of Zinni rewards, and just go for that. And then yeah, and then like that week also, I think when I like went jump back in after the appreciation fest, Arch-Tempered Kieran went and destroyed that abomination, and then it was Valhazak, which I had no issue with. I didn't even need his layered armor though, so I didn't really try. And then this week it's Call of Troth back, so I'm trying to get that not last set, but I'm trying to get that Gamma armor before he goes away, or she goes away, because I just need 2 more pieces now, because I have the helmet, the chest, I just need the arms and the belt, I had the legs already. And then that's 1 set of Gamma armor done, and then I don't have to worry about it ever again. So I'm just on the, chest and belt, so I need like 20. It's kind of ridiculous. You need a substantial amount of the materials for that one.
That's usually how it is.
Not really, just like the one material that you need is like, per part is like 10 of them, and you need the, what's it called? Let me look it up real quick. It's like the little nugget thing, that's the...
Oh, the Emperor Nugget or something like that?
It's the, derp.
That you get like one of.
Yeah, the
per
Koltroth
each.
Emperor Nugget. You need 7 of those per armor piece, which is 42 altogether for all 6 pieces.
So good luck with life on that.
But luckily I've got 2 more to go, so out of the 14 I have 3, so I'll get there eventually. Hopefully by the end of... by tomorrow, anyway. Because it's going to go away with it, and then I won't be able to... I'll be stuck with like one piece, or like, you know, one piece of armor if I can't get both of them, so that would suck. But if I can,
I
it's
think
like,
that's what happened to me
yay.
because I think I'm like 1 nugget short for the helmet. And I was like, well,
Yeah, 'cause
I guess I'm never getting this because
Yeah. Yeah.
too much work.
It's like there's a chance it could drop after the end of each thingy, and then after you clear it completely, it could be one of your little reward thingies, but you know, it's just a chance, so yeah. That's RNG for you.
Good old desire sensor strikes again.
Let's see, what else? What else? Oh, it made Playground, so I played through all the championship thingies. And then there wasn't a credit roll at the end. I was like, what? So that was weird. But whatever. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna stress about it, because each little championship has like a little number next to it. Because I didn't know what it was, and it's like 1 out of 4, 0 out of 4, 3 out of 4, whatever. I guess each thingy has a there's like a challenge associated with it. Because the trophy works. I looked at the trophies after the fact, and I guess each challenge has a certain amount of trophies. I'm sorry, each tournament has a specific challenge that you're trying to do to clear that one and get it. And after you get that, you get the little thingy. But then it's like I already cleared all the I already won all the matches. So it's like whatever. I don't understand like why I didn't get a credit roll. So I'm like, whatever, dude. I don't care. I'm declaring it done because it's like there's nowhere for me to go in this game. I've painted the fence and washed the car, so I'm good to go. Wax on, wax off, on to the next one. And then I jumped into NBA Playgrounds 2. Yeah, 'cause there's a sequel. So I started that up, and then, oh my gosh. I was expecting there to be like a tutorial like the first one, there wasn't, so I was like, what's going on here? And then also it like starts up with like some in-user license agreement BS, and I was like, what the F? And I was like, no, I don't agree. And like, just to see if I could still play, and it would let me play, but then I guess like it's some sort of like always online, thingy they have going on for like the online multiplayer. So I was like, oh, okay, just opt out of that, and like doesn't let you play unless you accept. Devil May Cry did like some other weird thing too, where it's like it was like, do you accept this thing? And I was like, no, I don't. And then like it still let me play, so I was like, oh, cool, I can say no, and it still let me play. So I was like, yeah, don't try to
For now.
shove it down my throat like that. But that was weird. And then it's weird playing the game because it's basically the same thing. It's just not the same game. It's just, you know how it is when they have like yearly. It's like it's this weird, like, 'cause I hadn't like played a game like that. They had like a yearly or like a recent edition in like a very short amount of time. Like I haven't touched the Call of Duties or the Assassin's Creed in such a long time to like play a game and then like play a game with like a number after to be like, oh, this is that game that probably came. I don't know if it came out a year later or like however many years later after the first one, but it was basically just like a fresh coat of paint and then basically very similar. I mean, the court you play on is actually themed as the team that you are when you play the season, so that was kind of neat. I thought that was a nice touch. What else? The music is better. There's like they use like this okay, so there's like this jingly rap that they use in the first one. They use it in the second one as well, but they added some more, and it's like some nice instrumental hopness, and it's like, oh, I quite enjoy this beat and stuff. So yeah, there's like even more besides that. There's like a bunch more music, and it's all nice and enjoyable. It's like, yeah, it's not all Christian all over the place either. It's nice just yeah, catchy tunes. Oh yeah, it's like they changed a lot of the UI though, as far as the lottery pick for like your power-ups. It's different. It's a ball that fills up slowly instead of just like a meter or bar, which is weird because that's more complex. I'm like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Defense seems to be better too, because you can like actually steal the ball and not just be like, oh, I'm pushing the steal button but nothing's happening. And yeah, so far so good. I'm very much enjoying it. So look forward to slowly. Oh, that's the other thing, is like there's a season mode and then there's a 3-point mode exhibition. So I didn't actually get to play 3-point mode because it was online in the first one, so I actually got to play it this time. And it's basically just 2 rounds of 3-point contest of like around one side of the ring, or one side of the court. Jeez, I almost said field. And then like both players are on it because it's 2-player. and then you basically just like shoot the 4 balls, and then the money ball it's worth like 2 or 3 or something. But then I think also one of the balls adds time to your timer, so you can just like because it's also timed, so it's like, oh, don't run out of time. And I guess I don't know what's going on as far as like the how it's calculated as far as the like where your sweet spot is on your shooting meter, because that's also back in this game. Is like the shooting meter. It's still janky though. They didn't fix it. They didn't fix the dunking of like, oh, you can dunk easily. Oh, not just whatever. It's still jank. So I'm kind of annoyed because I bought the second one after I bought the first one, after hearing kind of mad reviews about like, oh, but this is blah 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 blah. And I didn't really. I mean, it was cheap, so it's like whatever. And then like I have played it, and I do enjoy it. So I'm kind of like whatever. It's my new Super Mega Baseball in the basketball variety, so it's like kind of whatever. Oh, it does seem more microtransaction-y though, because like there's so much more that like you level up. Each player levels up, and then you level up your. I don't know. There's a bunch of different things that level up, and it's just like you can. There's 2 different types of currency, and it like explains it to you when you first boot up the game. I'm like, but neither of them are like pay to get. You get them from different things, but I'm pretty sure you can like go to the store and like buy them, or just buy packs of cards, which is like the other things like that's back. I think you get the same amount though per pack, though it seems like you might not. I'll have to double check. 'Cause it seems like you get like 1 or 2 less maybe, but it's still meh RNG. So, and then like the seasons are tiered as well. So it's like you start in bronze and it goes up to like silver, gold, platinum, blah blah blah, or diamond or something weird. It was explaining it, but I was like, whatever, dude. I'm just checking this out to see how this works. So. Because it's different, because it's not just a championship thing of like each location's a tournament that you play through. So I was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. So it seems longer because each game's just 1 week in the season, but I'm not sure if it's like a full-on season of like 82 games or how that works. I'm just like, guess I'll find out. But yes, I am quite enjoying the NBA Playgrounds fun times that I'm having. And then besides that, let me double check real quick if there's anything else I played. Besides that, I almost got sucked into the Division because I was like, oh man, keep hearing good things about it, but no, it didn't happen. So yeah, besides that, I finally played the 3rd episode of the final season of Walking Dead, and man, it was good. It was effing amazing. After like when you haven't played that game for such a long time, and then just like you go back and play it, and then or at least for me personally, it's just like I go back and play it. I'm like, this is why Telltale's like heads and shoulders above everybody else. It's just like, whew, man, the emotions and just the drama and just delicious. It was just I can't say anything that happened because it's all spoilers, but man, the setup for that final episode, and then like after I finished it, I was just like. Just like I had to, I finished it today, and I was just like my hands were shaking because like the last few choices you make in that one, dude, is just like a sequence of just like craziness, and like the whole final sequence is just like ridiculous sequence of like what's happening at the time, and I did not know it was gonna happen, and I was like just gripping the controller, just like, oh dude, I don't want to like do anything wrong, and just I don't want to lose anybody, it was so good, it was so good, and then I did that. And then I open my browser to YouTube, and then I see that there's a trailer for the final episode. I'm like, oh man, perfect timing. And I'm just like, I can't wait. But I haven't started on PS4, so I'm like behind. But I'll be remedying that over the weekend as I play through it, and just, man, there's like the scene I can't talk about, but it just makes me I'm so sad. It makes me, I'm sorry. It makes me even sadder that like Telltale's gone now because, dude, it just. Yeah, it's one of those scenes where it just gets you, man, and you're just like, oh, and you tear up, and you're just like, oh, I don't want it to be the end, I don't want it to be the end, and now I'm sad, and just, yeah. And, yeah, I was dreading playing through it on PS4 because then you would have to, like, kind of somewhat marathon it or play, like, a bunch in a row, and, like, last time I did that was the first season, and it effed me up, man. It was, like, yeah, it touched my soul in a bad way, but whatever, so... it was so good. There's so many things that they did and like touched on and just like that they hadn't really talked about in like the midst of the in the law series and stuff. So that was cool. I thought that was super neat. And I'm very looking forward to playing the finale, see how everything goes down. And if they do what Tropical said they're gonna do, because if they do, it's like I don't know. I don't know if I can
I
go
don't
on
know.
to the
Well,
darkest
yeah,
timeline.
because I haven't played any of it yet. But I don't. If this was not the last season, it's like the obvious thing to do. But then now that it is the last season, it's like, well, I don't know.
What Tropical? What do you mean you don't?
No, yeah, because when this was not the last season,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the perfect killing Clementine is the perfect thing for them to do. Like they've created a character that you are so attached to that the most, I guess, emotionally resonant thing they could do is to kill her. Or in Telltale fashion, they would make you think that you killed her. And you would be like, oh my gosh, what if I had done the other thing?
Oh,
and then you would try the
wow.
other thing and she would still die too. But then it'd be like, oh, okay. But then it's just like, that would have been just amazing. And people would remember that forever.
Man, Tropical, I'm sorry.
You will remember that.
Yeah, like they wrote it. You know, sometimes you play the game. This time the game played you. And then so, but yeah, now that it's the final season, like it seems like too obvious a thing to kill Clementine at the end. So I don't think that that's what they do.
Yeah, and it's kind of, yeah, I don't know, dude. It could go either way. I still think they could do it.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's, like, the story that they want to tell. So it's like, I guess that'd be the way it goes, man. But
Actually,
I would be super bummed out.
you know, maybe now that it is the final season, they will make you think that you killed her and there is a way to save her. Because, like,
play
you know,
through
that's the
entire
problem
thing again.
before. Yeah, that's the problem from before. Like, they couldn't end it in a way that was, like, so divergent that the next game would have to be, you know, multiple different settings and endings and stuff like that. But now that it's the last season, like, it doesn't matter. There's nothing past this. So you can end it with her dying or you can end it with her alive, and they don't have to worry how to, like, make that fit in the next game because there is no next game. So yeah, maybe that's what they do at the end of this one. That you can save her. Oh, and it'd be really awesome if it's like tied back to something from the first season, and you would have to play through the whole thing to do it. I don't know why they would do this, but like I don't know, to be legendary, people will always remember this story. It's like, oh, if you did all this stuff, and then if you did it a certain way, then, or yeah, like Infinity War, there's like one way out of tons of different combinations. And people will spend years and years trying to figure out the right combination.
Man,
That'd be amazing.
Tropical, I'm glad you brought up the whole, like, Telltale style, like, making you think you did the wrong thing, even though you did the thing that you thought was right. Because it's like, there's a point in this one, because it's like, I'm still holding true to, like, all my values, but it's like, there's a point where, like, okay, so it's similar to the whole doctor thing, where it's like, you know, he's like, please kill me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, I don't kill people. So it's like, you know, this one, it was similar because it was like they were saying, you know, if you do this, then I will tell you. And then I was like, okay. And then they're like, all right, well now you have to, do your part of the thing. I was like, sorry, that's not how I roll. I just was using you for information, and I felt terrible. And I was like, on the one hand, you're a terrible person, and I should kill you. But it's like, even though I'm letting you live, I lied to you, so I'm still in the wrong. But it's like, wasn't gonna compromise my morals, but I still am morally compromised because I lied to you. So it's like, yeah, F you, Telltale, because I am in a lose-lose situation right now because this is what you've done to me. So I feel guilty and I feel bad and I'm a terrible person, but I I didn't kill someone. So yay. And it's funny too because it was like all the things of like the things I don't do. It's like, you know, I don't mercy kill and I like don't do like whatever. And it was like that was like a specific scene of like, it's now or never, Decken. You're either gonna do the thing and it'll pay off, or you're gonna not do the thing and you'll regret. You'll feel terrible because you're a terrible person. I was like, but I can't do it. No, it's against my code. It's like, oh, I didn't do it. And then and it's like that's a funny thing because it's like, I don't know if, like, I mean, there's probably like points before in like the series where like you have done like probably been able to do that, but it seemed like this episode in particular was just like a lot of replaying your like things that you said as far as like well, not like a promise, but like you said you like do one thing, but then like, you know, going back on your words. So it's like, you know, I think this is like the first time where it's like the whole lying thing came into the equation in like this series. So I was like, man, it's like I kind of feel like I could go back and like play all the way through and just like go back on my word on everything, and then like not feel as bad because it's like, well, on the one hand, I didn't do that terrible thing, so you know, but maybe I should have. But then it's like, yeah, it's like even though I lied to them, I ended up, you know, like doing the lesser of two evils because I didn't like have to do a terrible thing. I just lied to them, and like, you know, I said what they wanted me to say, but then I didn't do it, so ha ha ha. So it's like, I don't know. It's like it's like at this point I'm just like, you know what? I don't know, man. Yeah, you got me on this one, Toto. You got me this time. So, and then that's the other thing is like this time it's like it kind of like because AJ is with you, so it kind of like affected the whole like relationship as far as like, but Clem, you didn't. I was like, yeah, I know, you're a terrible person, AJ, but sometimes, man, it's like, please believe me, I'm a good person. We don't kill people, AJ. Just do what I do. Don't kill people. Don't kill people. Don't be like Clementine. I've done some things, AJ. I'm a compromised individual, but you can't be like me. You can be different. AJ. I can see. Just had like emotional breakdown in mid-episode. I'm just like, oh man, I don't know how I feel about this. AJ saw me. It's like, but I had to. And then it was an emotional roller coaster for reals, because by the end of it my hands were shaking and just like, oh man, the final sequence, man, just like the like you had choice after choice after choice of like stuff happens, stuff goes down, and just like I can't talk about any of it until you guys play, but it was just like so just, man, draining. I had to like decompress, and then like the trailer for the next episode was out, and I'm just like, dude, I just finished the last one, and it's like, oh man, it's the end, and then it has like something in it from that one, because someone sings. Well, I guess depending on what you do, someone sings. And then I had that in this episode, so I was like, oh, it's that song from this one, and it like was like super sad and stuff, and I was like, man, well, going back in next week to finish the fight, see how this ends, and one way or the other, the legendary adventure that we've had all these years will be ending, and I will be sad because no more from Telltale. So keep up the fight, Quantic Dream, because you're the last one. Well, you're not the last one, because there's the Until Dawn people, and then Wells Interactive mixed kind of stuff like that, but not really. So, and all the other other things that have been touched by that DNA that will proliferate throughout the ages. Who knows? But yeah, Walking Dead, so good, so good, so good. And and then that's the other thing is like there's that Twice I was talking about is like in the credit rolls with like the percentages, it was like 9% Tekken, 9%. I was like, I was right. I'm in the minority. I don't care. You're all monsters. You're all the Walking Dead.
You're a monster.
I felt like vindicated just because I was like, I knew it. I may be in the super minority, but that's because you're all evil. You're the monsters.
What if you're just wrong?
No. And then there's another choice that's like super intense. That was like 52%, 48%. I was like, whew. I'm very surprised that like 52 of us have done this thing when like clearly. I mean, of course I did, so it's the right thing, but it's like, that's a very high percentage to be doing something very terrible. You're all terrible, so, yeah. And then, yeah, man. So good. So good. So good. Oh, man. Yeah. I can't say any, okay. I'm gonna stop before I start spoiling things, but man, there's this part where, like, you do something, and something happens. Oh,
I just about to say, awesome. It's like, oh, you don't say.
But yeah. I'll mention it when you guys get there, because I'm thinking about it right now. It was magical, and it was one of those.
I still haven't played season whatever it's before the final one yet.
New Frontier.
That one. I still haven't even played that one yet.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
It's time.
I'm like super behind.
Everything will be out.
I need to find the season pass so I can. It's because I'm like
some
super
game on sale on the store called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like some other episodic game that like people said the first episode was good, but I hadn't heard anything about any of the other episodes, so I'm kind of like, but I'll probably check it out.
It's about Life is Strange?
No, it's like the council or something. It's like colonial
Oh, the
era.
council.
Yeah, that one.
That one seems really neat. I think I might have got it.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Yes, of course.
So good. So good. Sorry, it's just, man, been wanting to play an episode of Walking Dead and just playing it and just like, yep, F yeah, man, F yeah. And then I'm just also sad because no more after this. Box is empty of cookies.
AJ, do as I do, not as I say. Unless the thing I do is lying. And then don't do that either.
It was, man, it was kind of funny, like the way they set it up to, because it was like, even though you should already know because you've been playing it however many times, and then like it does the thing where it's like AJ learned from your choices, and you've just done this in front of him, and it's like it does like the weird thing where it like tells you after the fact, but then it's like if you're just sticking with your guns like I was, you're like, well, I was gonna not do it based on AJ being there anyway, so whatever. I was just gonna do what I do because it's like we don't kill people, and we don't kill them till they've turned, and we don't do this and we don't do that. It's like, but lying, well, that was never part of the equation. So no, I guess some of the time, if it's beneficial to you, whatever, I don't know. Well, this is, it's like, you know what, this is an outlier, AJ. We wouldn't usually do this, but we also don't kill people, so this is a learning experience for you. That's what that's. And then the next time I'll be like, see, I didn't lie, and but then it came up again. I was like, oh. But yeah, it was, man. It was great. It was great. It was great. It was great. Ah, the best. But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Cool.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I mostly spent this week continuing Anthem and The Division. Anthem because I guess it was like a server-side fix. They said, oh, so we've adjusted the drop rate for Grandmaster 2 and 3.
Oh, dear. Here we go.
And I was like, really? All right. And I went in, and the first mission I played through was like nothing special. And then the second mission I played through, I got 3 legendaries. And I was kind of just, what just happened? I've only seen 2 in the entire time I've played, so I guess they did adjust it. 3 in the last hour and a half versus probably 50-60 hours where I only got 2, so like, okay, that's pretty good. But I actually haven't seen any more since then.
Oh dear.
So yeah, when I got the first one, I was like, oh, maybe it is adjusted, or because probably 20 or 30 hours have passed since I saw the last one, it was just my time to get my third one. But then I got the 4th one like pretty soon after, and the 5th one after that. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. But so apparently some guy on Reddit went and played like a bunch of hours of the game to figure out how the power system works and all that, and figured out that like the equipment basically doesn't matter as long as the power level on it is higher than what the equipment like modifiers say. They don't affect it as much as whatever the power level of the weapon is. So I guess people have been using like Masterworks instead of Legendaries, or like Epics instead of Masterworks, because they have like better stats on them.
The stats were a lie.
Yeah, apparently it's like the multiplier that results from the power level of the equipment is just like huge. It's like a huge number. Apparently, like a legendary, the power on all legendaries is 75, I think, and it gives you like a 22 times damage multiplier, which is a ton. And it's like it inadvertently overwrites any other modifier you could possibly get on other equipment. So it's kind of, part of it is like a bug, and part of it feels like all these little like differentiation things on the gear and stuff like doesn't really matter that much because of this one multiplier. Because BioWare came out and said, "Oh, we're going to fix that," and by that they meant apparently what you could do under the current system is if you're wearing like a mixture of epics and masterworks, take off the epics and just wear the masterworks. So you're not even wearing full equipment. But because all of your equipment is the most powerful stuff, like you get a higher damage multiplier than if you had some lower quality equipment to like fill out all your slots. Which is like, yeah, I don't understand exactly how it works, and I read this secondhand, but I was just like, that is really strange, and basically is like the equipment doesn't matter. Just like just put on the highest numbers that you have for everything, and if some things are lower numbers, just don't put them on. And then just go out there and like punch people and spam your ult, and you'll be doing the most damage you could possibly do, even if you had other stuff equipped. If you more for my primary weapon, and this does like 50% more for this gear or whatever, and they were like sort of min-maxing stuff, and I was just like, power level 75. This one's yellow. This one's, I guess, orange or gold or whatever. And like, okay, so these, I'm gonna wear all these, and I don't really care what they do, just get the highest numbers. And I was doing it right until they fix it, of course. Which, who knows what's gonna happen. So yeah, it felt a bit. It's starting to feel a bit empty playing more Anthem. It's like, on the one hand, I do want to have the like coolest stuff, and just I like being able to go into matches and just being super powerful, and like my favorite, like if quick play was working, that's what I would do. I would quick play all the time and like help people beat bosses and things like that. Because I rarely get to do that in games. I mean, I definitely wasn't doing that in Dark Souls or or Demon Souls. So this is my chance. I have more time. I can just, get raw power and do this. But yeah, that was like, quick play doesn't work most of the time. You often get matched into things that are just like, oh, people left because it's broken. So I guess I will leave too, and hopefully everyone else does, so no other people get matched in here. No, this week... Oh, actually, so Friday, the 15th, I bought, not a bunch of games, but I bought a few games, because I
bought a bunch of games.
Like four, maybe. Because I was thinking, this is the end of my Gamers Club 20% off discount at Best Buy. And after this, like for the first time in 4 years, I will have to buy games that are $60. It's like, it's going to be such an adjustment. Like when I left my job at Best Buy and I didn't want to buy anything for like a year, because it was just like, everything just seems so much more expensive when you don't have employee discount. So I was sort of thinking, this is my, I guess, send off for this, and then I'm gonna have to like cut back basically. So, yeah, I bought a few, and then I checked out, and then I was sitting there on my computer thinking, you know what, I should get Devil May Cry, and I should get Sekiro, so I'm gonna get those.
Yay!
And I went up and ordered them, and some credit card thing, or actually what it turned out was like there's a digital pre-order bonus for Sekiro, but Best Buy neglected to give it a release date. So they put it at the end of the year. And my credit card,
oh dear,
like expires before that.
Oh.
And it just like wouldn't let me check out. It's like, oh, you're something in your cart, like
isn't it until like next year, basically?
Yeah, it's like within 15 days of your card expiring. And I was like, how can that be? All of these games come out in April, and my card expires at the end of the year. So, like, this makes no sense. So I did a bunch of calls, and then finally one of the people was like, oh yeah, the digital thing says December 2019. So that's probably what's happening. And like, but it costs $0. Like, why? So yeah, it was weird. Eventually, I did get Sekiro,
Yeah.
but it was like this week because I was buying Spider-Man, the Blu-ray, and I checked and I looked in my cart. I was like, Sekiro's still there. It's like, all right, wait, it's still discounted too. All right, I guess I'll get it. And then I went through the whole thing where they figured it out, and then checked out and got. So on Friday, I'll have Sekiro. But I was like, wait a minute, why was it still discounted? And I went and checked and found out that I had only remembered the date, but I had not remembered the year. So, yeah, apparently I have another year of Gamers Club. It goes until March 15th, 2020. So I went through all that for nothing. I bought games for nothing.
Yay!
Are they still going
Yeah.
to like whatchamacallit? Your thingy?
What?
On the like does Gamers Club like actually like end before then, or is it still going? Or will they like will they what's the word? Something your that's why I can't think of like the way that, like the phrase it like they're still going to there's like a word or a phrase or something when like they're
Well, they like shut off Gamer Club already. I think it was like mid last year, maybe early last year. And I thought, you know, at the time people were saying, "Oh, you should re-up before this happens, so you get a full 2 years, even after they've like shut it down." Because like you pay $30 for 2 years, and then like they have to honor it until.
That's what I was thinking. Will they honor it?
Oh, yeah. And yeah, at the time I was like, I think I don't remember when I got it, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna re-up. I'll just like, you know, whatever. 2 years, like it's been a good run. I've gotten tons of games 20% off. I haven't bought a full price game in so long, and then so I didn't re-up. So I thought that it was this year. Like it seemed like, yeah, that's 2 years, right? But I guess I got it. A lot, like I had renewed a lot later than I thought, and so I still have another year after after this month. I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, all the like I was a bit more spendy just because I thought that it was ending. So like Anthem, I got the like special edition, and like Division, I got the special edition because like with 20% off, it comes down to like $60. So it's like, so I'm paying $60, but I'm getting like the enhanced edition. And then now I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't need to do that because, yeah. Anyways, so because Sekiro is coming out on Friday, I was like, okay, I'm going to finish the Division 2 campaign before that happens. And I've just, man, I've been having a hard time. I think this happened to me in Division 1 also, where at the point where I got it in my head, I'm going to finish the story mode, I started rushing, and then, like, they're very good at killing you in Division. If you're not careful, you die very easily, and, like, I'm essentially at the part where you start meeting the more militarized enemies. So in the beginning, it's just kind of like people who have banded together, and you watch their movements and like the way they fight, and it's less like, you know, military precision style, and they have, you know, less high tech gear and stuff. And now I'm against the guys who have gear that's kind of comparable to ours, and they sort of have different tactics, and they flank a lot better, and all this stuff. It's just like a lot harder to fight them. And yeah, oftentimes I guess the world enemies level up with you more so than they did in the first game. I think in the first game you would go through the like previous zones and they would still be lower level than you up to like the max of that area until you reached the max level, and then they would like level up the enemies in all the zones to whatever your level was. So far, I've been fighting everywhere I've been. I think I keep seeing enemies that are either one level below me or at my level. And once again, being the lazy looter that I am, it's just like I'm not really paying attention to my weapon stats and stuff, and I'm just looking as like, oh, which one has the highest damage? It's like, yes, this one. So I have like a shotgun and a sniper rifle, and that doesn't really work in all situations.
Those are
So
very situational things.
yeah, and it used to be easier to use them in the Division, but Division 2, just the enemies are a lot more, just their tactics and stuff are very dynamic, and you can't really sort of hunker down and just pop up and shoot them when they pop up. They got like little, what's that? Call of Duty has them, the like remote
RC
control cars. Yeah, they do that. And no cover is safe for very long. So I've basically decided, it's like, all right, I kind of want to do. I think I'm just gonna like help other people do missions and like get XP that way. And then every time I like level up to the requirement for the next main mission, then I'll just go do that one. And then someday, eventually, I'll come back and do all the side stuff. Yeah, that's the plan. It hasn't been going super well. People are just not a lot of people calling for help, it seems. And, yeah, oftentimes I get there and it's like, not a lot of help here. And they'll be playing like really early missions, and I'm not like, there's some sort of level adjustment thing that happens when you match up with other people. So when I'm fighting, it seems like I'm fighting levels that are like enemies that are my level, but then I look at them, and if they're like lower level, they seem to be having like an easier time. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But yeah, it's still like really tough. Oftentimes it's like one person calls for backup, but I don't know that. I'll just see like, oh, someone's called for backup, and I'll go on the map and join them, and there'll just be like one other person. It's like, oh, two people is easier, but it's still gonna be really hard, and we'll get wiped a few times. And I was like, I don't know if this is faster than me, methodically trying to do stuff on my own, but I guess this is a bit more fun, maybe. And yeah, it's it's a struggle right now. Trying to get to the end. It's so hard. And as far as I can tell, I am nowhere near the end. There's like so many areas left to open up, and I think I'm only level 13, and the max is 30.
Oh my.
So yeah, I don't know that. Well, wait, today is Wednesday. Sekiro comes out on Friday, so I have one day to get to the end.
It's not going to happen.
I don't know if I can do that.
It's not going to happen, Tropical.
Yeah. So that is not great. It's a shame. After finishing like Anthem and then finishing Dead or Alive 6, I was like, ooh, I'm on a roll again. And I hit the Division 2 wall.
Oh no. Is it a fun wall?
I still think the game is fun. I'm not good enough to play it fast. I still like use cover a lot. I guess that's how you're supposed to play it, but then, well, I don't know. Yeah, I can't. The speed at which I play and not die, like that's the fastest I can do it, and it feels very slow. And when I try to go faster, then I get in trouble. I'll be like in positions that are really exposed, or they didn't seem exposed. I mean, obviously that's why I ran there, but then it's like, oh no, it is very exposed. There's grenades and
like
everything.
mistakes are made.
Yep, all the time. Yeah, I think that's all I've been playing, just those two.
So,
Trying
did you? You said you only had like that one experience with the darkness, or the. It's called the. Is it called the darkness zone?
the Dark Zone,
The
yeah.
dark zone when like you went in and like they got killed and like you didn't see them right in the first one.
Hmm.
And you haven't tried it very much in this one yet, have you?
Not yet.
Okay, so I
So
don't remember you talking about it. So I
yeah,
was
like
watching Giant Bomb's quick look and it looked kind of interesting, but then I was like, on the one hand, yes, but then on the other hand, it's like I kind of feel like PvEVP is a lie because any time you have two P's, it's just going to turn to PvP. So it's like that's my whole theory, dude. It's like PvEVP is a lie, like effing Gambit's a lie. Like you have Guardians like killing you, and it's like, oh, if they're really good, it's like it's just not fun. It's like, oh, well, this turned into like Crucible because it's like just someone comes in with a super, comes in with heavy weapons, and it's like they're dead or you're dead, and like they heal their primeval, and it's like, oh, guess what? They got a lead now. It's like, oh, how are they able to do that? Because it's PvP, it's not PvEVP. That's a lie. Take out the E. It's just anyway.
I feel like Gambit was worse before. Like they adjusted some of the weapons. So before, it didn't even have to be super. Like they would come in
Yes,
with,
that's
yeah, and they would be like sniper distance, and I would see them and be like, oh, it's fine. And I put up my like sentinel shield wall, and then they would just like shoot, and the wall would disintegrate, and I would die, and just like one shot. And I was just like, really? There was nothing I could do, and he's so far.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, the progression in Division 2 is kind of different. So in the first one, remember, I would like, you unlock a safe house, then there's like a map and an officer in the safe house, and you talk and you look at the map, and it tells you where all these events are, and then you talk to the officer, and he tells you like where the side missions are. In this one, it feels a bit more natural. So like the info you get in the safe houses just tells you where like these division tech caches are around in the area that you're in, and then the side missions. Like I think the first side mission was it was like a chain. The minute you finished like the first main mission there, it would be like, oh, there's a mission nearby, and you go over there and it's like you rescue this guy, and he turns out to be kind of useless, and then the like guy on the radio is like, well, whatever, we saved a guy, so that's something. And like later, that NPC that you rescued, like when you're in a certain area of that map region, he'll like chime in and say, oh, there's something important over there, and then it's like, oh, side mission discovered. It's like, oh, that's sort of a cool way to have side missions. And so it's not like before where it was kind of sort of, I guess, Assassin's Creed style. You unlock this thing and it tells you where all the things are. It's more like, oh, it's sort of a story connected almost. And then, one part of it is kind of driving me crazy. Good thing I looked it up. There was so there's like settlements, and the first settlement is like the theater, and like they're building this like community on the roof, and then it's really cool because the more missions you do, main missions you do, like the better that community becomes. Well, there is, I guess, a second community. Or on the map, it looks like a second settlement, and it's called the Castle. And I was like, oh, that's really neat. And the first time I went there, I think the game glitched out because I joined someone else's game, and then we finished their main mission, and then it was like, oh, go to the castle. And I was like, okay. And I went to the castle, and it played a cutscene, and then I think it loaded me in the wrong place or something because I was in a totally dark room. And there was no way out of it. And I was just like, okay, I think it's bugged or something because I'm just stuck here. So I turned it off and I came back. And so in my game, I've tried to go into the castle and there was no one there. Or actually, the first time I tried, like the gate was closed. I was like, what? And then, yeah, when I finally got inside, there was just no people. I was like, oh, this is... like, what's going on here? And I was like, oh, is it because I joined a game that was further along than my own, and then so I gained access to the castle, but like because my progression didn't get to that point, there's no one at the castle, and I was like, oh no, I really like the settlements. I'll be very upset that if this settlement is just like broken in my game forever. But I guess like it turns out in the story, they abandoned that settlement, so that's why it looks abandoned. Because it didn't. I guess it makes sense. Like if you look around it, there's like dead bodies and stuff there. But I just sort of assumed like, oh, I thought it's like they haven't cleared them out yet, and they're supposed to like come in here and clean it out and like make it a settlement. But because my cutscene played. But then I wasn't in the right progression or whatever, then that didn't happen. So it's just going to be filled with dead bodies. Like, But no, I guess it's okay. It is a bug. Apparently, you're not supposed to be able to access it in the way that I did. But I guess you don't lose anything. There's no like quest givers inside of that one. So. But still, I hope they fix it at some point.
They won't.
No. Yeah, the other one is the other bug I've had to deal with was it's minor because it's a trophy bug. It's like the reputation among different factions in Anthem.
Okay, for a second, chapter 4, I was like, oh man, I've been hearing nothing but good things about Division, and then you're like, oh, it's Anthem. I was like, okay, that's good, because, yeah. That's not what I wanted to play.
Like the first one that you get, or it has like the highest percentage of people who've gotten that trophy, is the one that I can't get because I've already surpassed that point, and it hasn't checked again that I've done it. So I got the other two factions, but this third faction will, they have to fix it, or else I can never unlock it. Then I'm like, Anthem is probably a pretty easy platinum. Like I guess it's like Destiny, like the first Destiny. The last one is probably the hardest one is essentially like collect all the dead ghosts. And I was like, oh, all right, maybe someday. Yeah. That is all I have been playing. RPG?
Ah! So, I have only been playing Devil May Cry 5 because I'm still waiting for Sekiro to come out. So, I have to keep myself busy until then. So, because now we don't have releases on Tuesday like normal games anymore. Everything is releasing on Fridays now.
Back to the way it was in the old
I don't know. That's what we thought when they started releasing stuff on Tuesdays, and
A game came out today.
See what kind of nonsense I'm talking about? just
Starting to get like spread out.
It's just like, it's fine, guys. Just release it whenever. We don't even care. Just
Yeah.
throw a dart at a calendar, and that'll be our release date.
There's nowhere to go but up, because that means we could get games every day. Yes.
That's gonna
Oh my
just make this
gosh.
very confusing. Because it's like, at least before you kind of like expected, like, oh, this game comes out on such and such day, so that must be a Tuesday. But now it's like, well, I don't know anymore. It's just a day. It's a day of the week now, guys. I don't know. I don't know days anymore. But yes, been playing that. So I don't know how close I am to the end of the game, but I think I'm pretty close to the end of the game because like stuff happened, and then the kind of stuff that happened is kind of like spoilery, so it must be in. So it's like, oh, okay. So I guess I'm getting to the end kind of thing, stuff and things. So there's that.
Did you finally
But
go Super Saiyan?
What happened?
Did you finally go Super Saiyan?
I got, well, for Dante, yes.
Yeah.
So
Then you are
so that
close
was
to the
that
end.
was great. So that's a very useful power and everything. And then I wish they had more missions like the one where you play where you have to play as all three of them eventually. Because then it's like you have more co-op peoples and stuff. It'd be cool to have like a mission where everybody's just there and you're all going through and doing stuff, and then you're like devil hunting together and stuff. And I kind of wish that the game just had co-op from the get-go kind of thing, because that would have been cool, but they don't. So still have to play it solo, unfortunately, and just only have the link missions to go through stuff. But maybe they can add it on later in like a patch or something, and then just like make the link missions actual co-op or something. That would be cool.
Yeah, and then Bloody Palace comes out, I think April 1st, so I'm hoping they add it in that.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So that would be cool, because then it's like people can play as their respective hunters, and you can just play through the missions, and then people can be fighting with different fighting styles, and it'll be all chaotic
You
and,
can have people
and
carry you, 'cause
crazy.
there's really good
and stuff.
people in that game.
And then you can have people carry you because there's really good people in that game. So there's also that. So yeah, because like when I was playing the mission, the Three Hunters, I think is the name of the mission, where it's like you actually finally get to like be
yeah,
with
choose
the
who you wanna
people that are
be.
co-oping with you. It kind of like teases you, and it's just like, oh, this could have been happening all the time. But it's because it's like, and then it's like, because like when I was fighting, and it's like everybody. Well, it only happened where the only time it happened with all three of us being there was when I played as V. When I played as Dante or Nero, it was just either the other person was Nero or the other person was Dante, depending on which of the two I was. So when I played as V, that was the first time all three people, I guess, got connected, because all three of us were there, and it was like it was so cool to have everybody like.
One where all three got connected. I think I only had like one co-op partner at most.
Oh, yeah, and that one, it's like all three of us were there, so it was really cool, because it's like I was riding around on Nightmare, and then Dante was doing his Dante thing with his motorcycle and stuff, and then Nero was being Nero, I guess, because he doesn't have powers like the other two. But it's like it was cool, because everybody's just like doing their thing, and you can kind of see everybody's different fighting styles because everybody's there and stuff. It was really cool. So I kind of wish that they had more missions like that, because it's like they give you that taste, but they're like, no. You can't have it. You can't have it. You can only lick it. So, just that makes me sad. So maybe this is just kind of like a prelude to like a future Devil May Cry or something, and they're like, the next one will be full co-op, or they'll do it like Soulsborne style, and have people like can drop into your game and stuff as needed or something. Who knows? I don't know. But it'll be cool. It would be cool to do stuff like that. So, I don't know. But I mean, like I said, I've been enjoying the game. It's been super fun. I love it. And it's a great game. And it's a lot of fun to play. So, if you have not played it, you should, because it's great. So, enjoy. Enjoy it not being Devil May Cry 2. But that's pretty much all I've been playing, though, because, again, still waiting for Sekiro. So, there's that.
Cool. Well, have you guys been following this Google Stadia thing?
I had to go to work when the keynote started.
I read someone's Twitter thread about it, as far as, like, it's not really anything new, and then I was like, I did not watch the actual thing either, because I was like, got all my information from Twitter, and I was like, oh. And I read something else. I read like an article, and there was like nothing in there about price or release date, and I was like, okay, I'll go back to not caring. So yeah.
I mean, I've heard some of the features about it, but like I said, I didn't get a chance to see the stream because I had to like leave right when it was starting. So I was like, no. Because I was curious, because everybody was all buzzing about Google's jump into the gaming world, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Who's doing this? What's happening? What are they going to do? The new console? Is the world coming to an end? Are we doing stuff? What's happening? So everybody's all excited, so I was like, oh, it should be good. So, it should be interesting.
Well, in that case, sort of a brief overview of the thing. Google Stadia is the name, which is apparently... They did an interview where they said Stadia is basically the plural of stadiums.
Which is not how that works. It's not how that
which
works at
is
all.
I thought that was really funny.
Stadiums
Um,
is the already.
but yeah, like their idea is that it's not a console. It's not even like a console in the cloud. It's a place basically where you can have different types of entertainment and stuff. So yeah, what does that mean exactly? Well, it's massively powerful CPUs and GPUs in a way that isn't possible in consoles because one, consoles got to be cheap enough for people to buy them, and two, they got to be small enough that people can have them in their houses.
And they also have to not explode because,
Yeah.
you know, that would
Yeah.
not be good.
I mean, so if it's in a data center, then we don't care about that stuff, except for the explosions. And they they say
Not
that, well,
wrong.
we're Google. We've been doing servers and data centers for 20 years now, so we know a
Since
lot
they
about this stuff.
existed. So, I mean,
Yeah, like a lot of the internet is Google, so
true. Because
it's
they
a
own a lot
weird
of stuff too.
thing to wrap around.
So
wrap
that's
your
what
head
confused me
around.
about this whole Stadia thing. Because I was like, because when I first saw the news of it being like a kind of a streaming thing, but then it has its own controller and everything, and I was kind of confused on how the whole thing is supposed to work because it's like is it just like does it just exist as a program or something or what? How is it supposed to? I didn't understand the whole concept thing.
So they're calling it a cloud native platform. And essentially what that means is, like if you think about PlayStation Now or, a decade ago on Live, the idea was like, you don't have a powerful computer, but we can build a powerful computer. Like powerful computers exist. It's just not everyone has them. But if so, the idea was like if you could connect to a powerful computer online somewhere, you could play games on a powerful computer that you don't own. And this is kind of that, but even more. So it is very similar to like the streaming services that we have now or that have died in the recent past. But the difference is like, for some reason, like on Live, they never used really powerful computers. Like they just used powerful enough computers. So, for us, it's kind of like if we could dial into like gaming PC or whatever, and play, things at max settings, then OnLive was kind of like that. But they're talking about using like server style computers. So, as far as processing power and all that stuff, like there's things they don't have to think about as far as like, or there's limits that they can sort of ignore because of where they're going to be putting them in these data centers. So it's like, does that make sense?
No.
All right. Do you know how in the early days, like computers were the size of a room?
Yes. I'm assuming.
And the terminals, you could like dial into them essentially from remote terminals.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like that.
So then,
So your remote terminal is not very powerful at all. But then like
that's what's confusing me because I'm like, so how exactly does this work? Because it's like, I'm guessing that I guess on their end, that means they're basically doing all the work for you in terms of like the processing power or whatever that's
Right.
going on for these games.
Right.
But then Wouldn't that mean that you would require some kind of like ridiculous internet connection or something for this to be a viable option for normal people?
I mean, that's the concern that most regular people have expressed. Oh, I guess going back to the example, a better example, it's like remote play. So remember, you could play your PS4 on your Vita, or I guess a better one is like you could play your PS3 on your PSP. PSP is clearly not as powerful as the PS3 was.
It's not.
But you could like play games through this sort of networking technology essentially. This is like that, except that the Stadia server thing is massively more powerful, and also it is not just one PS3.
It's all
It
of them.
is-
It's all
yeah,
of the
like-
PS3s.
Yeah, what they're saying is like your game doesn't have to be limited to just one of these. Like there isn't. That's what they mean when they say there is no Stadia console. You're not like
Oh,
dialing
so it's
into
like
a
you're
Stadia
going into the
console.
hive mind, or like
Yeah,
a collective.
basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
This is, I mean, it's basically what Microsoft was talking about before with like the power of the cloud, except that instead of
Microsoft.
having, your Xbox being powerful and then having the cloud add power to it, this time it's just like it's all on the cloud and you have nothing. You have like
And also, Google can probably back up their promises, unlike Microsoft. So there's that. But
both are massively rich, but I think
yeah, but
Google has done, they're in those places already. They've been building this sort of infrastructure of theirs for quite a while now. Like, that is their company.
yeah. So I'm guessing then, if that's the case, then that means technically any of our respective whatever we play our games on would technically be the PSP in this case, with
Yeah.
them being the PS3 and making these things. So I mean, on the one hand, I mean, I guess that means if they had the games to actually, make use of this, you could potentially get some like ridiculous games, like ridiculously, some ridiculous games because they have the hardware to like back it up.
Yeah.
But the question is, do they have these games?
Well, I mean, so what we're about to talk about a moment ago was like bandwidth. Like everyone's talking about, sure, streaming. This all sounds great in theory, but like America's internet in a lot of places is really terrible, and because it's a monopoly, like people don't have other choices. And yeah, like third world countries don't have that kind of internet. Like, what is it going to take? The stats that Stadia has, or Google has said that Stadia will support at launch: 4K, 60 frames, HDR. And yeah, people are just like, how? Today, PlayStation Now is the thing that I always think of with game streaming, and that requires, I believe it's like 5 megabits up and down, and games play at 720, 30 frames per second. So it's like massively lower resolution, slower frame rates. And then, like, in my experience, 5 megabits is not enough. Like, you just can't have the stability that you need to play it smoothly. Like, now my connection is like 300 up and down megabits. And then now, yeah, I basically have no problems. But not a lot of people have that. They did a test run earlier in the year with something called Project Stream, where they let people play Assassin's Creed Odyssey through Google Chrome. And that required, I think the requirement they said was like 15 or 20 megabits per second. So like that was kind of a baseline, and Google is saying that that will be improved by the time this thing actually comes out. So the requirement will be lower than 15, somehow, and you'll be able to play games 1080p, 4K. Well, 4K will be more, but like 1080p, 30 at least, with a lower connection speed. So it's like, I mean, when they're talking about building more of their infrastructure, so as data centers become closer and closer to people's houses as they build more and more, then the connections get better. And then the other part of that they're saying is like compression, video compression, all of that can be improved, and then sort of your bandwidth requirement would shrink.
Hmm.
What Tekken was talking about earlier with pricing, so they haven't announced pricing. A lot of people are basically saying this is the Netflix of gaming, although I guess I haven't seen any evidence that suggests that it's going to be a subscription service. It kind of feels to me like they would
demonstration that they show when like you're watching the trailer and then you're playing the game. It's like that seems like something you would buy and not be a subscription.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, So, but then would that mean you would just have access to basically just all the games then? Just like that kind of thing? Because it's like, when you think about it, that means you technically, unless you, I guess, would have to purchase the game from the subscription or from the server thing or whatever to do it.
I mean, because the way that I think it's going to work is maybe they'll have a subscription, but for the most part, it'll be like how you buy digital movies these days. So, if Movies Anywhere is the big one now, right? If you buy a movie from like Google Play or Amazon Prime, then
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like most people don't download those movies, I don't think. Most people just like, okay, now I own it and I can stream it anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And I think that's what this will be.
So it's like it's tied to your PSN and your Xbox Live and your Switch or Nintendo, whatever the F, and like Steam and Epic.
Well, this will be tied to your, basically like your Gmail, like your Google account will be your thing.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah. So okay, let's I'm gonna run through some of the sort of things that highlights of cool features that they talked about. And we talked about the hardware being massively, it's supposed to be beyond what current generation consoles are, but this is going to be competing with future consoles. But since it's part of the, like, it's a cloud thing, end consumers never have to worry about the system being out of date. They'll just like update it as developers need more and more power or whatever. We sort of briefly touched on it, YouTube integration. So this is actually, I think this is the reason that this does well. Like, okay, so yeah, in my mind, like, this is going to do well. And the reason I think is because streamers matter so much to games right now. Maybe not to us, but the wider population seems to care. And every advantage, there's so many streamers, so every advantage your stream can have, that's what, like, you're gonna take it and use that advantage. And one of the advantages of Stadia is that because it is a server, like, it's essentially the same network as YouTube. So right now, like, you stream to YouTube, what is that like? It's like your PlayStation 4 is at your house, and it's, the game is on there, and then you're streaming, it's encoding video and audio, and it's sending it to YouTube, which is, who knows how far away. With Stadia, like, Stadia is in the data centers of YouTube, so they're basically, connected directly to each other. So what Stadia is able to do is like every time you want to stream or like share video clips or whatever, that stuff is all recorded to YouTube at the highest quality that it can be, like 4K 60, and you know that doesn't use any of your bandwidth because you're not even
Because it's coming from them.
yeah, like the order of the connection is totally different then in that case, and so you're gonna have like the highest quality audio and video for your streams, and then on top of that, because they're all in the same system, like they're talking about things where, you know, if you're a streamer and you're watching someone else stream a game and they get like a cool item and you're just like, oh cool, I want to play with that too, you'll be able to click a link in YouTube to say I want to play, you know, from this point in the game. Everything's on the server, you know, they're right next to each other, so they can launch a new version of a new instance of the game, copy sort of the data from the stream that you're watching into that version, and then you can start basically playing exactly where the streamer you're just watching was at.
It sounds ambitious, to say the least. It just,
Yeah, and these things, like, they're talking 5-second load times. Like, their goal is that load times will never be longer than 5 seconds.
Because part of me is just like, this sounds outrageously expensive, but I'm like, it's Google, so I mean, they have the money. So it's not really a problem.
Yeah, like, that's the difference. Like, it's outrageously expensive, but not for end consumers. It's expensive for them to set up, but then potentially really lucrative too after they've done it.
Makes me wonder which still makes me wonder how much this is going to cost then, because it's like, on the one hand, they're going to have to make their money back some way, shape, or form, because otherwise they're not just going to be doing this out of the kindness of their heart to shit and set up a massive supercomputer so people can play video games. So I'm kind of, that's the main concern, because then I'm like, thinking about it now, if it's basically like a console thing where it's just like, okay, for this you purchase the Stadia and you get the controller and maybe you get like, and you have like access to the server or whatever, and then you only have to pay like a small subscription fee or something for like unlimited every games ever kind of thing, which I doubt is going to be the case. But
yeah, it's
like, I'm just very skeptical of this whole setup, because it's like it sounds like a great idea on paper, but then I worry because
Sounds too good.
yeah, and then you know, technology and things possibly going wrong, and then Skynet, and then it's just. And then, I mean, it's one of those things that I mean, for myself, I prefer having my my physical copies of my games. So that's kind of like a huge drawback for me immediately, because it's like, well, this is basically a streaming only platform. But at the same time, it's like, imagine the kind of games we could get if like developers are able to like kind of play around with their supercomputer and be like, hey, look what we made, and then just like, oh my goodness, look at this, you can't do this on a console. So it's just I'm torn.
I think that's, well, so for money, I think that how it's going to work, or it's just like sort of perfect for their ecosystem. They have all the data on YouTube. Like, it's something like billions of hours of gameplay are watched. And one of their stated goals is basically like they're sort of removing all of the barriers. Like, console gaming has gotten kind of complicated compared to like the NES days. You turn on your console, and then it's like, oh, there's a system firmware update. Okay, so you wait through that, and then you put in your game, and it's like, okay, it needs to install. And so you wait there for 20 minutes, and then it's installed. It's like, oh, now there's an day one update for your new game. And and then you gotta wait for that, and
What was
then
all of this just for?
yeah, and then it's like, so you get in there, your 80 gigabyte game is on your system. Finally, you're in the game, and then it's like, even the best games, like Uncharted has that one loading screen at the very beginning. If you're able to play through the entire game in one sitting, that's the only loading screen you ever see. But it's like a 40, 50-second load screen. So you're still, there's a lot of downtime in console gaming these days. Whereas before, it really was like, blow on the cartridge, put it in there, turn it on, and it's on. And you're just in. And, you play through the game. With this, they're sort of taking it a step further than that. It's like, you never have to worry about system updates because it's all in the cloud. It's like invisible to you. You have no idea what Stadia looks like or where it even is. So no system updates,
ugly.
no game updates, no game installs. Talking about 5-second load times for everything. They've already demonstrated it with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so it's like those are really short.
They also said crossplay too or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of is because you can play this thing on anything with a screen, is what they're saying. Like wherever YouTube is, Stadia can be. But yeah, like that's the other connection. Like all these people watching people stream games. Like what if we call them influencers because it's like, oh, you watch the stream and you think, oh, that's fun, and then you go out and you buy the game. Well, there's lots of steps to going out and buying the game, even if it's just on Steam. Whereas this, they're talking about, you're watching the stream and you're like, oh, that seems fun. You click something on the stream, I guess, and then it launches into the game in 5 seconds, and you're playing the game. Like, that is really ridiculous as far as, I think, a marketing tool.
I mean, that's all well and good for like multiplayer games, but
Well, even single-player games can be like that.
How? Because of the curated experience thingy?
Wait, what do you mean?
When like someone sees something in the game and they're like, oh, I want to have that, and they like pick up wherever you left off or whatever, or that thing.
Yeah. Like that thing that, they were talking specifically about single-player games. Because the save files, they're not on your console or their console, they're just all in the cloud. So it's easy to move a thing in the cloud from one place to another place, or make a copy of it. And like it's basically like how today, well, we can't do it today anymore, but if you could like download a save file from someone else's game and then load it up in your game, then you would be playing their game, right? But since it's in the cloud, that just all is like really essentially trivial. And you can be playing someone else's game in 5 seconds just by clicking a thing.
Oh.
So I think, as this is like Google and YouTube right now are sort of like this massive marketing platform. Once they have this, they will be the marketing platform and the store for games. And I think, like, as far as making your money, like, that's how you do it. You don't have to pay. You don't have to ask people to pay for Stadia. You just say, yeah, you're watching this game. You think it's really cool. You want to play it? Click this thing. Your Google account, Google Wallet, whatever, is already attached to your credit card. Like, you don't even know how much money you spent, but you bought that game.
Well, that's
You're
serious.
I was thinking
It's
about
like-
that too, actually, was like the instant buyer's remorse that people will have if there's like no refund system policy. It's like, play now. It's like, okay,
You
sure.
also
Or
can't
buy
trade
now.
in your game.
Yeah. But, just like, well, who knows how the economics of all this will shake out.
Rest in peace, GameStop.
I'm just reminded of things like, you remember Hotmail? Hotmail still exists, but when Gmail was first becoming a thing, Hotmail was offering 2 megabytes. That's how much email space you had on Hotmail for the free account. And then people started talking about, oh, if you're invited to this thing called Gmail, you get, like, I think it was a gigabyte at the time already. Just like, what's a gigabyte? Say, I have 2 megabytes. That's the size of my email mailbox, and now you're getting it. Now, like Gmail is like, oh, you get 11 gigabytes.
You have 6
Like-
million bytes of bytes.
It's just like, is memory like, where do they get the money to buy? Memory's not free. Is there a place to get free memory? I don't. It's just
Yes.
weird. And you think about YouTube, you know, if millions of hours of video are uploaded to YouTube per second, like where is all that going? And you know, before YouTube, you'd probably be like, okay, so how do they pay for it? Like, how do they make money? Like, surely they're going to charge us to upload our videos to share to the world, and yet they don't. So, like, the economics of these things, I think, are really strange. So, in the case of Stadia, I don't know that it necessarily is just like, we built this thing, now you got to pay for it. Direct. It's going to be a subscription to Stadia.
Like, why is it our fault? You know what you did.
Like, I think, yeah, probably there will be a subscription side of it as well. The same as sort of YouTube Red exists to get rid of
good
ads
point.
and stuff.
I was thinking about that too, as far as like, you know, the other thing, like why I would like not why wouldn't, but like a comparison thing. It would be like, you know, I already have like the infrastructure on PSN where like I have a friends list, my friends are there, I'm there, we can just jump into games, blah blah blah. But I guess if you have like something like that on Stadia, the Stadia Stadium of all your friends, you just you know, have all that crap and they charge you for it or something. I don't know.
Yep. Well, yeah, maybe. If they even have to do that. I find it hard to imagine all of the other publishers who will be on this platform saying, yeah, you know, we will be part of subscription service type stuff. Because I don't, you know, if you look at PlayStation Now and OnLive and all that before it, like, it doesn't seem like the deal is very good for publishers, which is probably why, like, the libraries on those streaming services that exist today aren't bigger. In fact, like, PlayStation Now when it started, there was no subscription service, and it was like pretty expensive to rent games, and you could only rent one at not one at a time, but like you could only rent individual games for, I think the longest one was 30 days for like $10 or something like that. So that $10 is sort of divided among or a small number of parties. Now it's like $100 for a year subscription if you're lucky, and that is divided among what? Each of the 700 games that are available for streaming? Or just goes to the ones that the person actually plays? Like, that's not a lot of money. 100 is the total revenue. Doesn't even cover 2 games at $60. So
That's true. It does not.
yeah, that's why I think, like, probably this will be just you can buy games through it, and then they're gonna, yeah, like, you stream them. And yeah, so this gets to that thing. It's like, oh, streaming versus physical. There.
So does this mean you have to download like an app for it on like all of the things you plan on using it for? Because
No. Apparently, no.
how does the whole controller thing work?
So, for things that have like keyboards, or most importantly, like USB input output, you can use any USB controller.
So it's not going to be. So you don't actually need their controller.
Right. Their controller, they've designed for. So it's kind of special, actually. Like, it's basically for the TV setting. They're not going to sell a little box, apparently, that you attach to. Well, not technically. Like, I guess they already sell the box that you're going to attach to your TV to make Stadia work, which is the Google Chromecast. And yeah, like no one has downloaded an app for their Google Chromecast because that's just not how it works. Chromecast, all it does is connect to a server and do video and audio decoding. And since Stadia, that's what it's sending out. Like, that's what Chromecast is going to do. So it's already designed to do exactly that thing. In the case, so that's where, like, the controller gets weird. Like, the controller in all of our systems right now, like, your controller attaches to your laptop, or it wirelessly connects to your PS4. The Stadia controller doesn't connect to your Chromecast. It connects directly to the Stadia servers. So it's a Wi-Fi device by itself. Which, like, potentially, I guess, like, cuts out more latency since it doesn't have to connect to something in your house and that thing is connected to the internet. It's, like, directly connected to the internet on its own. But yeah, like what I was saying before, in an interview, they said that basically Stadia is everywhere that YouTube is. So, for example, when they did their Project Stream beta test of this thing, like that was running on Stadia stuff. That was played through Chrome. So you opened your browser and you clicked on a thing, and then you were playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So yeah, as far as like each end user, there really isn't anything for them to get. It's going to be kind of like a website you go to.
Oh.
And everything just like works.
This seems too good to be true, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like there's such a thing as like a PS and Xbox Live added, so it's like what happens when Stadia is down? You just can't play that day.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I mean, they're running on like ultra computers or some nonsense. So I mean, I guess that's going to be very rare, if at all.
Well, it's not that the computers are really powerful. It's that it's Google. Like if Google is down,
also that
like the internet is having a bad day. So if you can't play on Google, you can't do anything online.
Like so, the internet's broken because yeah, this is our life now. This is our reality. The darkest timeline indeed.
When I first saw it, it's like, so it's PlayStation Now, except more like a better console, basically in the cloud. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, this could be really different because PlayStation Now, owned by Sony, like Sony only has so many resources. They weren't doing that well before PS4, and so like, you know, who knows how well they're doing well now, but compared to Google, like, do they have the money of Google? Who's got Google money in the world?
Google has Google money.
Maybe
Google has Google money. To answer your question,
like these top 1% higher than them. That's who.
This sort of technology, like, is supposed to seem really cheap to the people who use it. We're just going to be like, oh, wow, it just works, and we don't really think about it. But for the people trying to provide it, it is probably massively expensive.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, oh, no, this seems...
It's just like, it makes sense that if your server is... If you have more servers covering the planet, then the percentage of the population that's close to a server is higher. And it's like, who's going to have more servers? Google, the internet company, or Sony?
Spoiler alert, it's not Sony. Because, I mean...
Think about PlayStation Network and then answer that question. Just like, yeah, probably Google. And so, you know, once I started thinking about that, it's like, yeah, this could be
Darkest timeline. We're here. It's the end. No console future has arrived.
Oh no!
Be massively different to PlayStation Now just because of that, like the infrastructure being everywhere. But the other thing they talked about or I guess like so Eurogamer has been talking about this, and they see huge potential for really groundbreaking, actually new experiences provided by games, enabled by this kind of platform. When we think about PS5, we think, well, it's going to look way better, and beyond that, it's like, well, we can't really imagine what it's going to be like. But with this, first of all, we were talking about how it's not like one console out there in the cloud. It's like this, this sort of nebulous. Was it the Hive Mind?
Yeah, Hive Mind Collective.
Yes.
Hive Mind Collective out
Stadia
there.
is an AI that is like in flipping like iRobot of just like connected consoles. It is aware. Hello, I am Stadia. What would you like to play today? Times 8 billion, because we can support every human on the planet.
Oh
What
gosh.
would you like to play?
No gosh.
Hello, take
We've warned ourselves. We warned ourselves.
I know what
We're
you're
basically
thinking.
just walking into this future now.
I know of the game. Horizon Zero Dawn.
I already know what you want to play.
I'm not like this.
I know where you sleep.
RPG. I'm not here to eat or enslave you.
Lies! Lies!
Would you like a
We
dolphin
warned
puree?
ourselves.
I'm just joking. Or am I? Am I?
GLaDOS says hi.
But yeah, like essentially, we have this massively powerful hive mind. What if someone was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna, push everything to the max because there's basically no limits." It's like, oh, we had limits on like texture sizes because it had to fit on a Blu-ray disc. It's like, well, that's gone. So I can make the most detailed textures ever, and I mean past and future. I'm just gonna make, it's like, who cares? There's no more polygon limits. We're just gonna make just infinitely small triangles. We'll make up.
Tropical. I hear you're very fascinated with the Paragon grass. How would you like Paragon snow blizzard?
Actually, there was a snow event during
Than a car in Gran Turismo Sword. Yeah, like, I mean, probably wouldn't, but
Oh my gosh, Tropical, now I'm just thinking, maybe I finally could get that VR drill instructor game. We just didn't have enough power before.
You're
But
really
now,
hard pressed on getting this game, aren't you?
Now I can just think of all the possibilities from our AI hive mind collective overlord. What could it not do? Is there anything it couldn't do?
It could not enslave us.
yeah, so, someone could push the limits as far as they could go, for example. Another example of something they could do is, like, because, right now you have a server and then all of the individual consoles out there on the net, and they got to connect to the server, and the server's got to send back, stuff to them. With Stadia, like, it's all server, so there are no clients, basically. And so, for example, like Battle Royale is the example they give. It's like, right now it's 100 players because internet connections, like all this stuff. But if all of the clients are in the server, basically, you could potentially have, thousands or tens of thousands of players at the same time. The idea I thought of earlier today is like there's a zombie mode in PUBG where it's like 4 people play as people and then the other 96 people play as zombies.
Oh.
It would be like, I think it would be really cool if a streamer was like, okay, we're gonna squad up with like 2 or 3 people or like 4 people in a squad, and then you just like open it to the masses. Like, all right, everyone who's watching who wants to be a zombie, click this link. Potentially it's like, oh, streamer and like 3 buds are fighting tens of thousands of players who are playing as zombies. That could be really neat. One of the examples that they gave also was like a real-time strategy game where every unit is controlled by an actual person.
That doesn't seem very fun.
Hard to say. I think PlanetSide did that, right? Maybe?
No, I don't think so.
Well, like Mag is kind of like that for 250, or it was for 256
Well, I
players.
mean, like, when you say every unit is a person, I'm just saying, like, I mean, like, I'm just thinking in the way of an RTS plays, though. Like, you're just building things. It's not like a team versus team thing, like in Mag or
Well,
Planet Side. I mean, I
no,
guess
like
that's kind of the idea, though. Whatever. Then you're getting
kind.
ahead of yourself, Tactical. You're too hyped right now. I'm too hyped right now.
Yeah, it's just like those kinds of things are not possible now, but would be just because the restrictions are entirely different in the case of a entirely cloud-based platform. They would be possible in that scenario. And then, yeah, just like, who knows what else you could do with this kind of stuff. Yeah, I really think like the streaming thing, just like this moment in time for games, streaming, I guess, plays a huge role in what games people buy and like which games become successful just because like people know about them. And then just like having all those barriers between seeing it and then buying it removed, and just knowing that streamers is like, yeah, like it's highly competitive. There's so many streamers. So if you can get any advantage for your stream, you're going to do it. So big streamers right now, they have the bandwidth. They're going to be looking at this and being like, oh my gosh, like I can improve the quality of my stream with minimal effort just by buying into this platform. And yeah, then you're going to see those types of things, and there's going to be incentive programs where it's like, oh, if you buy from a streamer, the streamer gets, a portion of that that sale. And then yeah, so streamers are going to push it, and they become like the frontline marketing people, and then that gets more people to buy into the system. And yeah, it's just like we're going to look at it and it's like, oh, it's just so convenient. Everything is so convenient. And it
You
just
say that now,
like
but it's like
time.
we live in an age of Watch Dogs and other games like that I can't think of right now that just don't live up to the hype. And it's like, oh, instant regret. But this
But it'd be
influencer is
totally
paid,
different.
so
It would be totally different in this case. Like streamers, they spend the money. On the one hand, I think it's because they have the money, but the ones that don't have the money feel like, oh, I need to spend money to make money. And so they'll like buy these things and then play them. And so they may have regret, but they also feel like, well, I needed to do it in order to, have content that other people don't have. And then for people who aren't going to be streamers or aren't streamers, they look at it and they get a chance to see the game in a way that we don't really get to see these days unless you're watching other streamers. Like in the past, it really was magazine, website reviews, or you're looking at the box, or you're watching like official trailers, and that's kind of it. It will be, if everything is so easily streamed, it's going to be harder and harder to hide. Like I think big disappointments like that are going to be harder to come by.
I don't know, dude. A lot of people were like, Battlefront 2, what's up with this when they were early access? And then they didn't fix it. And it was like, oh, yeah, we knew. We knew. But we just didn't
And
care.
yeah, and that game didn't sell as well. Right?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That one was the one, and they actually did have to change a bunch of stuff afterwards. Like if it had done decently, then they probably wouldn't have.
See, on the one hand, I was getting like all super excited, and I'm just thinking there's just gonna be like a second wave of like weird novelty multiplayer modes and games. We're just like, oh, let's do this. Oh, and now it's like, oh, I already just don't care about those games anymore. And like, just yeah, whatever. We'll see. Thanks, Tropical. I was hyped. I was going up, and now I'm riding the escalator back down. Back down into big physique land of... Oh, but there's multiplayer. Massively multiplayer. Every game is massively multiplayer. Hundreds of thousands.
People love massively multiplayer.
I can get you on my hype train and also temper your expectations. Cool.
Well, that's just confusing.
I think this will be hugely successful.
This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, but I guess like the last thing, it's apparently launching this year by the end of the year.
What?
The first tests like that they've been doing internally and stuff like started in 2016, 2017. So it's been a while for them. The public tests Project Stream thing was I think it was like late last year, early this year.
Ooh, see, Hardcore, see, I just thought of something. So it's like the first party stuff that they come out with, like whenever it comes out, it's like if that stuff looks like really, really good, and then next gen stuff comes out and it still doesn't look as good as that stuff, it's like that'll be like that'll be a thing where it's like, ooh, still not as good as a Stadia. That'll be
that could be a huge thing.
I could see that being a big deal.
Hard to say at this point, because they did talk about. So yeah, one of their announcements was like Stadia Games and Entertainment is a new division being headed by Jade Raymond. So that's where she landed after EA Motive and Open World Star Wars died. So yes, Google is going to have first party games on this thing.
I gotta say though, not a good look to have Phil Harrison on the stage talking about it. I'm just saying. We all know where that train ended. I'm just saying. Sure, it was a like well fought back, turning the ship around on everybody else's part, but someone was like, "I'm gonna change sides." Or I'm gonna, treat like a Decepticon. Phil Harrison.
Yeah, they're announcing at GDC because they want like developers.
Yeah.
Although a lot of it did feel like E3. We were just like, this is like really exciting stuff. So their partners in their big slide were all like game engine middleware, stuff like that. So Unity, Unreal, Crytek, all that stuff is going to be like, there's going to be some sort of integration to help developers get onto this platform easier. As far as like actual publishers or games and stuff that will launch on this, we don't really know. Although it is likely that a lot of publishers that do get on board initially will probably just have, perhaps enhanced ports or like the ultra settings ports of their current or whatever their current games are at that time on the system. I'm pretty excited though. I do want that controller.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
You.
I don't say anything. It should always be assumed that if someone announces something, I'm on board.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously that's me. What RPG? What do you think at this point? Any other questions on something that maybe I didn't remember?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
In that case, general impressions. What do you think? Is it gonna be huge? Is this gonna be a paradigm shift?
The potential for it to be the next big thing is there. It's just a matter of can they deliver on all this space magic, AI, overmind, hive mind, dolphin puree magic.
Yeah. Yeah. The potential's there. It's just, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh no. I'm just once I am assured of like the cost and the internet thing, then I mean maybe it'll be a bit more reassuring, but for now there's too many questions and whatnots that concern me.
I mean, I am not blind to the concerns. Like, they make sense to me when people voice them. But yeah, as I said earlier, like, a lot of the stuff we do on the internet today, I would have believed would have been impossible. You know, the first videos I saw online were like lower definition than standard definition. And it sort of blew my mind even still, because it was just like, wow, we're like watching these videos that we can just like search for and find them. And then they seemed fine. And now if you look at them, it's like you blow them up onto your screen, it's like, oh, they look like garbage. Or you watch them in native resolution, and they're just like this tiny little square on your screen. Now we're watching like 4K videos on YouTube, and there's no buffering, and it's just like, how?
I mean, that being, yeah. See,
Magic.
then like, I'm also thinking, like, Darkest Timeline, this might be it, because it's like, climate change, polar situation, coastal situations, extreme weather patterns. Maybe we are just peaking out right before the end, man. Maybe it's about to go down. Maybe this is it, man. Tropical. This is how we know it's rapture time. It's rapture time. So enjoy it while it lasts, because yeah.
Yeah, we're doomed.
The end. Time is ticking it down. Tickety tock.
I mean, it is the darkest timeline.
That too.
Theoretically, I guess that would work in Stadia's favor, because if the coasts all disappear, that means there's less land. So everyone's got to, cram up a little, which means less space for consoles and stuff like that, and TVs. And so if you can just like get it on any device with a screen, then people are not going to stop playing games no matter what happens. They maybe not electronic games if it gets really bad, but you can't stop people from playing. So yeah, in that case, a cloud system where that doesn't take up physical space in your residence would be good. That's really dark. We're living 10 in a room, but at least we can all play on our phones.
Are we doomed?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. I was just making sure.
All right. Anything else to add on Stadia?
Hopefully it's less than $599 US. Oh.
LOLs.
I hope it's you just buy games, and then the rest is just like magic until we understand how it works.
I mean, even if we understand how it works, that doesn't make it any less magic. It just means that we understand the magic.
Maybe.
I mean, I know how the sun technically works. That doesn't make it any less gigantic and fiery and magical death. It just means I understand that it's a gigantic fiery ball of death.
All right then. I guess we'll do the quick weekly RRR, rapid release responses. 10-word truncated description, and we give a yay or a nah to the games coming out for the next week. What day is today? The 20th? All right, so we start with wow. It's really weird. New game came out today. There's a new game coming out tomorrow, March 21st, called Alwa's Awakening. Use your magic staff and progress through a large interconnected...
That sounds super inappropriate.
No, you don't say.
So this is fine.
Oh, sure,
This
I
is
put my-
fine.
oh,
We're
sure, I
starting
put my
off with
magic
the
stuff.
porn games already.
Seg from magical balls of fire to magical staves.
I just, oh dear. Oh,
Yeah?
dear.
Alwa's Awakening? Maybe? No?
No.
Do you say it's called Aru's Awakening?
No, it's called Alwa's Awakening. ALWA. Oh yeah, there was a game called Alwa's Awakening.
Yeah, then I was like, wait a minute. I already have the game, so it couldn't have came out again. Unless it was like remaster or something, but then, yeah, whatever.
This is not that one. Yeah? No?
Sorry, I'm not into the whole wizards and spells. Sorry, not my thing. More
Alright.
of a cyberpunk future dystopian augmented humans or androids or cyborgs, whatever you want to say. You know, that whole thing. That's a great time. Great time. Except when it's not.
Oh dear.
Like
Cool.
Dolphin Fury. Dolphin Fury.
March 22nd. Carve your own clever path to vengeance in an all-new... This is, of course, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Yes, I'm
Yay!
totally pre-ordering it.
Even though it decided to come out on a Friday, it's fine.
Also surprised it's
Yeah.
from Activision and doesn't have like an Uber Duper edition. That's like $10 more or whatever.
And we haven't really
It does
heard
have-
anything either.
It does have a special edition,
Yeah, it
but
is.
yeah. But it's not like any extra content or anything, so.
The next one is Fate Extella Link. The Holy Grail War and its violent aftermath are over. Wow, complete sentence. Was it interesting, though? Is your interest peaked?
I
This
am
is a
already
series
familiar with
that I'm not
the
familiar with and haven't
with
played
the
any of,
property, so.
yeah, no
Hmm.
interest.
But I preferred them back when I preferred the one that was like back when it was like the semi-strategy style of fighting. These are more like Musos.
Oh, really?
Those
Ew,
types.
Muso.
Yeah, it's listed as an action game, so that I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. And you play as the servants and just go to town. You just go ham.
March 26th is pretty loaded. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 13 games coming out March 26th.
Holy crap.
Pretty exciting. Maybe that is the end of second Christmas, or it's like the beginning of third Christmas. First off, we got Xenon Racer. It's the year 2030 in an era of flying vehicles.
What? Flying car racing game. Interesting.
But no, I don't like racing games, so no.
It looks pretty. Next is Outward, or Outward? Outward.
What?
No. Now I don't know which way to say it. Out something. No remarkable journey is achieved without great effort. Outward is... Yeah?
No, that's a terrible
sorry.
description.
What? Oh.
No, blah, 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 blah. What? Wait, could you say that again, Tropical?
No remarkable journey is achieved without great effort.
Oh,
Well, I mean, that's
nice
obvious.
try being deep. Yeah, it's like... F
Oh,
off.
Outward, you failed.
you failed hard.
This one is Sky World. Claim command over the VR battlefield. Sky World puts you at...
No. I heard VR in there.
Tekken, have you used your VR in a while?
Nope.
Not even Beat Saber.
Not even Beat Saber.
Wow. Moving on, we've got 7 Enhanced Edition. 7 Enhanced Edition is an open-world isometric action role-playing game.
Well, that's a good description because it tells me all the things I need to know as far as genre. But I don't know what the game's about, but I know what the genre is. But it's an open world game.
But it already exists in some way, shape, or form, I'm assuming, since it's supposed to be a remaster, right?
Maybe.
Oh, it's remastered.
Maybe it's the sequel to the movie.
What's it
What
called?
was-
What's the game
It's called 7 Enhanced
Oh.
Edition.
It's not the movie. I'm pretty sure it's not the movie.
What's in the box? An open world isometric action role-playing game.
I don't think that's what's happening right now. I really don't think that's what's happening. Gonna go out on a limb and assume that's not what's going on. 'Cause, faces and stuff. 'Cause, yeah.
All right. Generation Zero. Welcome to 1980s Sweden. The local population has gone missing.
Well, that just sounds odd. I mean, why did they go missing? What happened?
Not.
What's going on?
I saw the trailer for this game. It looks weird.
What is it
So,
called?
yes. Generation Zero.
Oh, wait, I think... Oh, because that's the one with the... I remember the trailer for that one. Yeah, but I think it's like a shooter or something, and I was like...
Yeah, it said action shooter. And I was like, are there any shooters that aren't action games?
I just wanted to say, like, isn't that kind of the point?
I guess, is Duck Hunt? I wouldn't consider Duck Hunt an action game. Although, maybe. Then we got a Danganronpa trilogy. Experience the full hope and deep despair of 3 Murder.
3 Murder? What?
3 Murder.
There's probably, like, simulator or something after that. Some type of...
Or murder investigation. I was like, what?
That kind of thing, yeah. I mean, it is a series about a bunch of kids killing each other because, fun times. Fun times. The darkest timeline, indeed.
Tekken, you haven't played any of these?
Nope.
Like, less than me? Because I've played through one case.
Are they visual novels?
So. Kind of, but not really. It's
I think there's more game stuff than most visual novels.
Yeah, there's a lot more
gameplay then, but if they're visual novels, they can F right off.
Did you ever play Sakura Wars?
No. Isn't that a strategy RPG?
It's like half visual novel, half strategy RPG.
Isn't it on PS3, right? Because I keep... Sometimes when I'm on my
there's one on
PS3 and I'm on the store, I'll be looking and be like, man, I should play this game, but then never buy it.
The one I played, well, they were Sega games back when Sega had consoles. Yeah, I think I played it on PC. There might be one on PS3. I'm not sure.
20 years ago. 30 years ago.
Wow.
Back when Sega made consoles.
Yeah, it was that long, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. This is more than baseball. Welcome to the show. And that is the 10 words for MOV the show 19.
No.
Moving on. After years on the road facing threats, both living and...
What?
And it's The Walking Dead, the Telltale series, the final season, episode 4, Take Us Back.
Isn't that the last one?
Yep, the final
That is the last one.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun.
Go get the other ones, RPG. Play it.
I'm going to have a long
I do need to
cry session after I finish that one.
Unbreak. Okay. Path of Exile is the next one. Path of Exile is an online action RPG set in...
I feel like I've heard this thing before.
I feel like I've heard of this one too. Probably 3 or something.
And also they used all their description words on their title again. I'm stop doing that.
Online action RPG.
Because it sounds like fun, because it's like online action RPG, but then it's like, can they be trusted?
We got finished Diablo.
Action RPG. Medieval, fantasy, sci-fi, dystopian, post-apocalyptic, modern day, far past, far future. I
guess.
it's an online action RPG. That's all I knew. And some Obsidian, or what's it called again?
Path of Exile.
Path of Exile. I don't know what
Did
Obsidian.
you say Obsidian? I was. What did you say?
Path of
Obsidian?
Exile.
Because Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity.
Yes,
like that's the one that I always think
similar.
this
It's
is.
like the blank of blank.
They're both
like
POE.
Castlevania titles: Harmony of Despair, something of Innocence, blank of blank, the blank of blank. There's too many blanks
Music
of blanks.
of something not music.
Symphony of the Night, Curse of the Darkness, Harmony Dissonance. You know, blanks of blanks, blanks of blanks of blanks, all the blanks.
Oh my goodness, guys! Stop your nonsense.
All right, moving on then. Nauke, and legendary alchemists Atelier of the New World.
Oh, they have another one of those coming out.
Yes. The main character is a young noblewoman. Her task is
to do alchemy. We know they be doing it every game. Sheesh.
Maybe this time things will be different. RPG.
No! Again, it never is.
yes.
It literally never is.
Oh, well,
Yes.
never mind then.
No,
Yes,
Tropical. The answer is not yes. Stop it.
The yes, perpetual hope. Maybe it will be different this time.
It won't be. They're always the same. Some young girl gets conscripted into doing alchemy, and then everything goes to crap. Gets repetitive because you have to keep gathering crap and doing more alchemy for no reason. Just a whole big old mess. Whole big old mess.
Space Junkies, a visceral jetpack-fueled VR arcade shooter where you fly through.
I mean, it sounds fun, except that
Space junkies, as in drug-addled people. No, thank you. I do not do drugs. I do not condone
They're high on space.
junkiness and drug doing and all that fun stuff.
In
Space tropical, yeah, that's the thing.
That's what-
sure.
Tekken.
They're so far away from the planet 'cause they're so up high. Yeah, that's how high up they are. They're so high. They're high on space.
I don't think that's what they mean. Tekken.
What do they mean, RPG?
I think
Space
just
junkie?
think
Space
they're
junkie?
just really into space.
Oh, well, I guess that could be a thing too.
They're just really, really into space. Like they really, really,
They should
really.
reprioritize their priorities in life then. 'Cause that's kind of gross. Space junkies are gross. Gross junkies. All junkies are gross. I'm just saying.
Unless it's not like space outside the atmosphere, and it's just like space
Space
in general. Like they see a, empty
Look at the empty lot over there.
ballroom, and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
Love it.
I'm so high on this."
I want to marry it. I want to marry this room. Look at that empty lot over there. It's even bigger. I need it in my life.
Parking lots. Oh.
So basically, yes. That kind of junkie Tekken. That kind of junkie.
I don't even know what that
Is that what you want in your
I've
future?
never heard of that in my
Is that
life.
your future you want?
No.
Is it
No,
Tekken?
it's not. It's not.
Good. Good. Good.
This one is called The Princess Guide. A land torn by chaos and war. A new
Well, that doesn't really help me at all.
A new princess, maybe? Kingdom? I don't know, because that description sucked.
Yeah, I mean,
It's really funny sometimes, like the descriptions, because there's like short words for the 10 words. It looks really short. And yeah, I guess that one really didn't have much anything in it either.
the job was
It was action adventure RPG.
interesting. Interesting. What console is this coming to?
These are all PlayStation 4.
You don't say.
titles.
The Princess Guide, he calls it. Although with my luck, it's probably a Muv-Love or something.
Action adventure style. That's
Is the
Be rare.
developer.
I neglected to write that down, so I have no idea. I will look it up.
disappointed in you.
But the last one is The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel, taking place on the same continent as the fan favorite.
Also, they shouldn't start their thing off like that. But yes, I already own this series, and it's like super long, but I enjoy it. But it's like super long, but I love it. But it's super long, so I love it. But it's super long. So I mean, I won't be getting this one obviously because I already own the other. I already own them in the Vita version, and it's like I don't feel like slogging through another 90 hours. So you know, I kind of got other stuff to do. Games to play. But if you don't already have them or haven't played them, you should get them. They're great.
All right. The Princess Guide is developed by Nippon Ichi Software and published by NIS America.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
There's like 4 ladies on the top of this website. Dressed in like, I guess like sort of medieval-ish style, or sort of the fantasy role-playing game archetypes. There's like a mage, 2 knights maybe, but one of them has a Gatling gun or a chain gun.
That's
not medieval. That's not medieval at all. I don't think you know how time works.
Good knight that doesn't use a gun blade because it's not a gun sword or whatever Squall's thingy is called. Gun blade.
Yeah, so those are the releases for the next week.
Sekiro! I'm gonna be a ninja and I'm gonna fail because it's stealth. Stealth.
I have no idea what my experience with this game is going to be like. I sort of like the setting better than like the high fantasy type.
Well, duh, it's Feudal Japan.
Settings of Dark Souls stuff, but
it's not wrong. It's not wrong.
If it's going to be really hard, I don't know if I have the patience.
Well,
to learn stuff.
Well, From Software is saying that it's more user friendly. I guess since they made it like fully single player, I guess they had to make it so that people could actually finish it. So, from my understanding, they made it a bit more approachable and a bit easier for the single player gamer. So, I mean, I guess.
But is it easy enough for me?
I mean, Tropical, get good. But that aside, I don't know how hard it's gonna be. I mean, I'm sure it's still gonna be difficult. I mean, it's From Software, so I mean, there's that. But if they said it's gonna be easier, then it's gonna be easier. Tropical, you should be fine.
Well, hopefully we'll know soon enough. Tune in next week.
Just customize your ninja to be all awesome, and then you don't have to worry about it, and you'll be fine.
We got a little bit of, or actually, I had a lot of news, but we're not going to do all of it because
do all of it.
It's too much. This is too much. In fact, actually, for new announcement games, we can also do a version of RRR. So we can sort of see how like developers, like the first impression of a game, how well they did in describing it in the first 10 words. And sort of the more that we've done this, I think at first it was like, oh, this is just sort of a funny thing, but now it kind of makes sense. Like, people should be trying to make their games sound interesting in as few words as possible. They often talk about elevator pitches, and this is kind of like that. And yeah, one of the lessons I think that everyone should learn is that don't put your game title in the description in the first 10 words, because there's no point. Like, when is anyone going to see the description of your game without the title nearby? Probably never. This isn't Jeopardy.
That would just be weird, yeah.
So, yeah, that's something I think that's a lesson that has actual application for developers and publishers. So if anyone is listening, do that. Or don't do that. Yeah. Okay, so on to the news. Valve is implementing some sort of tools that will identify off-topic reviews and exclude them from a game's Steam review score. This is basically their attempt to combat review bombing, which has happened a bunch recently because Epic Game Store keeps getting exclusives that used to be on Steam, and then those games get review bombed on Steam with reviews that are basically saying it's not on Steam, 1 star, or whatever the score system, or thumbs down. So yeah, apparently the way this will work is the tool will monitor reviews, and once it finds out that this is sort of happening, it will like alert a human, and the human will have to decide whether it's legit. And then once they've decided, then they contact the developer and say, hey, this is happening to your game's reviews, so if you want, we will exclude all reviews from a certain time period from your review score. And then, yeah, like in most cases, that will like protect a game's review score. It'll go up, or it will like not plummet. But those reviews aren't removed; they remain visible. They're just not calculated into the final score. So, yeah, the PC gaming space there's a lot of drama there right now. Epic Game Store announced more exclusives today. Apparently, Beyond Two Souls, Detroit, and Heavy Rain are all going to be PC games soon, exclusive to the Epic's Game Store.
Epic Game Store users can finally experience the amazingness that we've been experiencing on the PlayStation console for however long.
Yes. Welcome. Welcome. Will you cut off your finger? How much have you thought about it beforehand? Some people just went all willy-nilly. But I had a plan.
I was just gonna make the point about maybe this could convert some users to the PlayStation platform, and Tropic was all about cutting fingers, so you know. I don't know what he's been doing.
Worlds. Darkest Timeline.
In Division and Anthem, but when he's not doing that, so I don't know. I don't know where his mind's at, man. I was the one playing Walking Dead. I didn't talk about cutting fingers off. I'm just saying.
There are new songs for Beat Saber. They released a DLC pack, the Monster Cat Music Pack Volume 1. It's 10 songs from Monster Cat for $13.
Whatever.
So, yeah, pretty cool. Beat Saber, very good. Devil May Cry 5, we mentioned before, is getting the Palace mode April 1st, free update. That's the thing where it's like waves of enemies, or you're like going
floors
up the tower, right?
Yep.
And you just try to go as far as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it usually like you die and then that's your record, like how far you went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has the end.
Which one had this one? Was it 4 or
3?
3 had it.
Well, it's also in 4 as well.
It became a regular thing after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Battlefield 5, they've announced their Battle Royale modes coming out March 25th. It's called Firestorm. Why? Because in the days of PUBG, I guess there was sort of a debate about what the circle represents. Like, what is outside the circle? And some people are like, oh, it's like poisonous gas, or in Fortnite, it's like a storm. This one, I guess the world is literally on fire outside of the circle, And it looks really cool in Frostbite because when the fire passes over buildings, like they get destroyed, and it looks it looks really crazy and exciting so far. There's been a trailer. It's 64 players, solo, squads, or duos. Should be interesting to see. Especially recently, I watched a video about Titanfall, the treatment of Titanfall by EA. So like, oh, the first one was multiplayer only, but shackled to the console that had the fewest players. The second one had a single player campaign and multiplayer, and it was like all around well received by critics. But they released it within 2 weeks of a competitor from the same publisher. Battlefield 1, was it? Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 came out like in the same month. And then this time, Apex Legends doing really well, and like a month later, they're releasing another Battle Royale game.
Wait. What? Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. Because I was like, what's... And then you're like, Battlefield. Okay, never mind.
It's like all EA's like
Well, that's
possible
their thing. They're stuck at
steps.
managing their franchises and not cannibalizing each other. So, you know.
You remember when they were talking about how people feel like they've sort of mismanaged the Star Wars IP?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was Kotaku. They talked about how it seems like the Star Wars deal was like the previous president's thing, and now the current president of EA, Andrew Wilson, he's like, there's sort of a general feel that he doesn't care for the deal because he wanted to focus entirely on like EA owned properties. But yeah, like, or I guess Titanfall wasn't EA's until they bought Respawn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's who knows why they do what they're doing.
Not them. Oh.
Rude.
Konami announced that they're releasing a 50th anniversary collection of games called the Anniversary Collection. So far, they've announced 3 collections. The first one is the Arcade Classics. That is coming out April, I want to say 18th?
I think it's the 20th, actually. It's 420.
20th? Okay. $20 will be, I think it's 8 games. Haunted Castle. I think it was called Nemesis or something. Like, it's like Gradius 1 and 2. Life Force, Thundercross, Twimby. Just a bunch of classic Konami arcade shooters. Then the other ones they announced were a Castlevania collection and also a Contra collection. They haven't revealed all the games in those, but yeah, I guess this is the 50th year of Konami existing, and this is the stuff that they're going to sell for that.
A very meh collection. Thanks, Konami. Don't even touch Metal Gear. We will riot. We will fight at your doorstep.
Oh, man.
We will. We really will. I've been looking for a gut fight.
Turtle Rock is back. These are the people who made Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, then went and made Evolve for 2K, which, less popular. And yeah, now they're making a new game for WB, or published by WB. It's called Back 4 Blood. It's a co-op first-person zombie shooter, but it is not Left 4 Dead 3. There's going to be new stuff. And basically that's all we know. Why did they announce it at this early stage and not really announce anything? Well, it's GDC, and they apparently need more people. So they got to get the word out that they're doing something cool, and that's how they get people to come work with them. So hopefully we will get to see more of Back 4 Blood soon.
You won't.
Yeah, just like we won't be able to get a Left 4 Dead 3 ever. Thanks, Valve. Thanks.
You're welcome, Tekken.
Because they don't make games anymore, except for that one game that was a card game nobody wanted, and it's like, oh, guess what? Nobody bought it. So
Maybe they just don't like making.
Ancestors? Ancient?
I don't remember what it's called. It's got
Well,
there was like whatever-
Artifacts. That's
that garbage.
They just don't like making number threes of games. It's like
I
their
mean,
thing.
that's a thing too, but it's like, come on. Like at some point,
It's like a running gag.
at some point you have to finish. You can't just be like, oh man, we built this game up to be a trilogy and we just didn't make it the third version. Like, who does that? Who does that? I'll tell you who doesn't do that. Great creators, because great creators don't just like puss out on their third game in the trilogy. I'm just
Oh my.
saying. Thanks, Valve.
They have done that for like all of their games. There's been sequels to all of them except a third one. For all of them. For all of them. Enjoy. Enjoy Valve being a cock tease for the rest of your existence, Tekken. Because that's what they're gonna do.
Well, seeing as they don't make games anymore, it's not gonna happen. So
Also that.
unless they just like they're like, oh man, we got to make something for the Stadia because we don't make games, but we'll make something for somebody else. Because why would we not do that? They have all the power. They have all this power in their AI mind collective room. It's way more awesome than our Valve sits on the AI director room.
Is it
Let's
is
make
it
some fun
unlimited
stuff
power?
for it.
Bethesda has announced that they will be doing E3 despite all these other people
I mean,
pulling out.
them by themselves, I guess.
So yeah, save the date. That's gonna be June 9th, 5:30 Pacific time.
There's
So
always,
that's
like
like
really.
But that's
7:30 here,
when I say no one
8:30 on the
cares.
East Coast. It would be interesting to see. I guess like there's interesting stuff happening in Fallout 76, but I don't know that anything can ever
Interesting.
overcome the initial like this is
Crash
bad.
landing,
Yeah.
Crash landing at launch. We need to make up a new name for them, like something just like Diablo 3 is. It's like
You can call somebody's anthemed because
no, I mean like an actual
Anthem
thing.
hard.
It's like it crashes and burns and. it's
Like
different.
if Anthem becomes like that, then I think we call them anthems because it
That's
just
a good point.
you got anthem.
sounds better.
Could not recover, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because Diablo 3 is too much of a mouthful.
It's too
So they
long,
got
yeah.
anthemed. It's like
So hard to say.
it works.
Finally, there was a Nintendo Direct today for Nindies, is
I
what they
watched
call
it.
it? Nintendo
Oh,
Indies.
yeah, their showcase.
You see it?
Yep, I did.
I didn't see it though.
I did not see most of it. But yeah, so we'll save that for some sort of special modified first impressions RR type thing. But one thing I did see was that the developers of Crypt of the Necrodancer are getting the opportunity to work with Nintendo characters. So they are making the Cadence of Hyrule, which is like, have either of you played Crypt of the Necrodancer?
Nope.
No.
It's sort of like, you know how there used to be these RPGs where, or I don't know if they're RPGs, but like dungeon crawling type games where, I guess it was kind of turn based because like every move you make, the enemies also get to make a move, or the enemies move at the same time that you move. So if you stop, then the enemies stop moving.
Kind of like in Resonance of Fate. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so like on top of that though, there is a rhythmic music stuff like in the background. And if you move at the beat of the music, you get like bonuses to attacks and things like that. And it was pretty interesting. And yeah, they're gonna do that in Hyrule. With sort of a modern take, I guess, on like Link to the Past type artistic style. And I saw that. I was like, oh, that's very exciting.
Interesting. Another
wait
Zelda
to see
game, you
that.
say?
Yeah,
Hmm.
another Zelda game.
Hmm. Interessante. Interessante indeed.
So yeah, that is the news that I got this week. Any stuff that you guys saw that was interesting?
Think off the top of my head, no.
Nope, I was too excited for Sekiro.
I'm pretty excited now. Except that I feel like, oh no, I'm gonna abandon the division? No, I must finish it.
I'm sure you cannot do it.
Tropical,
It's
if a game
fine.
is a Source game, you can just put it down and come back to it whenever because it's always getting new content and updated.
That's
You'll have
true.
experience and come back to it anytime.
So when you go back, it's gonna have so much content, so much more content that you're not
Then
gonna
I'll
even know what to do
really
with
never
yourself.
finish it.
Basically, yes. But you get to live in that desolate world of doom and despair. And
Wanted to
you know,
continue my streak of like finishing a game and then being like, wow, I finished the game. I saw the credits. I'm gonna get another one. Or I was already gonna get the other one, but somehow I finished the previous one before I got the next one. So that's something. That's an accomplishment
job.
that I don't get to have often.
Good job.
Makes it special.
Does it though?
For me. So yeah, thanks for listening. Check us out, aimlesspodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff.
We everywhere.
Anything to say before we sign off, RPG?
But candy.
Anything to say before we sign off, Tropical?
All right then.
Okay, so yeah, like Tropical said, check us out, Aimless Podcast, Aimless Bubble Z, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. So you know, Stadia. Will it sink, will it swim? I guess we'll find out this year, because it's coming out this year. Too bad we don't have a prize release date, but hey, maybe it'll just be like some app thing, and they're just gonna be like, oh, there's no subscription fee, it's just a...
Maybe Google will be at E3 since everybody else isn't.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Look forward to that. So yeah, Amos Pablo Z. Until you see or hear from us again, thanks for listening, and we're now signing off. Stadia. It's coming to kill us all. What?